Hello, coin droppers, and welcome back to the Coin Drop Podcast. Today I've got with me Mike because Tim decided last minute to let us know he was going to be out of town. Yeah!
Tim quit again.
Tim did in fact quit again. We did so well on our last episode that Tim's like, fuck this, I'm a rock star. I don't need you guys. Deuces.
Yep.
No, he's out of town with the wife and the kids, and I think he's just out having a good time. So we got Mike with us today. Before we jump into this... You should be. Before we jump into this, I got some housekeeping that I want to take care of. So bear with me. For you Patreon and audio podcast listeners, you could probably jump the first minute or so ahead. But don't if you don't want to. First shout out. I want to thank one of the guys in Discord who actually just recently joined us. He's become our first patron. I won't call him out by name because I don't want to dox anybody if this episode ever does become big. But you know who you are. Thanks, man. We appreciate that support. In addition to that, we also found out that our Discord link hasn't been working. So we've rectified that. Our Discord link will now, as of this posting and as of this live stream on our Twitch, on our YouTube, and at the footer of every episode, be working. Those are now permalinks. I was unaware that they expired in 7 days after posting them. So they've been dead since like 7 days after we started the podcast. And we're on episode 29.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's
4 episodes a month. That's a long time ago.
Yes. Yeah, that's far more than 7 days ago. I'm not great at math, but I can do that one. So those are permanent links now. Should have no issues joining the Discord for those of you who do want to join. Quick shout out to a couple of people that listened to our last episode. I got some feedback from them during our deep dive. I think Tim and I might have misspoke a few times. I think we made some corrections in the episode, but I'm going to just go ahead and issue the ones that were brought up to me from some of the team at the day before, as well as some fans that listened to it from the Discord. The first one being that I think I mentioned that the day before is manned by volunteers. I put that in quotations for audio listeners. It's volunteer devs, but they're paid, and then the voluntary devs that are not paid only handle stuff, according to who informed me. They only handle stuff like localizations, community management stuff, things of that nature. They don't actually code anything. And I think when I speculated, I wasn't very clear that that was my speculation, not any kind of actual information. So just to clear that up, volunteer developers for the day before are handling a lot less of the actual development, more community engagement and things of that nature. I also think Tim mentioned at some point in there about another game, and I don't think we were too clear that he was speaking about a different game at the time. There's a comment in there about a game that was using all free assets from, I think it was from the UE5 store, as well as they were trying to market their own personal app through the game. He was not talking about the day before in that. He was talking about a different game. I don't think that was very clear when we were having that conversation. I don't recall. You'd have to ask Tim, but of course he's not here to ask. Lastly, we speculated. I got this studio, the day before studio, mixed up with many others that are based in Korea. I speculated that I think they were based in Korea, but I also asked somebody in the chat to look it up, or Tim to look it up. We actually corrected that later on, found that they were founded in Russia, and that they're based in Singapore now, I believe. Either way, that correction was in the episode for those who didn't make it all the way there, but for those who heard that and heard that we misspoke, there you go. That's about all I've got. Thanks to Nav, Pegasus, and Lyco for giving me those corrections. So, thanks, guys. Last one, and this is not a plug. I'm just going to say that right now because we are definitely not big enough for that. But Secret Labs, I think they need to change their branding and their marketing. And I'm going to say that because I was supposed to play games with Chris last night and fell asleep in my chair watching Godzilla. Like an old-ass man. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a little embarrassed by that. Yep. Secret Labs, if anybody's listening or anybody wants to know, these are the new lazy boys for millennial dads. Just going to say that. Secret Labs, I fully expect an ad from you guy that markets these like lazy boys, because now it's like a must. I straight up like was watching Godzilla, King of Monsters, or whatever the fuck the second one is, was just kicked back, just full relax, just lean back, and just fucking zonked out. Just completely gone.
Bro woke up with drool coming out of him.
I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and was like, what? Fucking, yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was, it's not a plug. I'm actually very happy with this purchase. I was very skeptical because of the price of these chairs. If you are skeptical about these chairs, I'll tell you, for me and a lot of other people, they're great. I know, Mike, I don't think you liked them. I think you had one at one point. Was it you? It was somebody else I talked to that said that they didn't like it.
I don't like their pricing.
Yeah.
Because, like, I have a mesh chair, and it's...
Yeah.
I've fallen asleep in it before. So.
Yeah. I will say I don't like their pricing either, but the quality is pretty fucking phenomenal. And honestly, as long as the product is worth the price, I'm okay with it. And these are. So if you are in the market for a chair, highly recommend the Secret Labs. Yeah, not a plug, but hey, there you go. Our first ever ad, I guess, for a company that's not paying us to do an ad for them. Yay! All right, now that housekeeping's out of the way, let's jump into the actual podcast. So today, Mike, you've got, we've got Throne and Liberty as one of our first topics here. This game was announced a while ago, right? When was it?
I don't know how long ago it was announced, but I literally found an article on it this past Sunday. Might have been Monday. But I'm so conflicted about how I feel about this game.
About a year ago, it looks like it's the first trailer for them, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because like you were saying, NCSoft, who's developing this game, also made Guild Wars. Mm-hmm. Guild Wars 2, which wasn't admittedly great, but it was a Guild Wars game.
It sure was. They also made games. They also made Aeon, which I know Tim was a big fan of when we worked at Game Crazy way back in the day. Oh, also, before we go much further, happy Veterans Day to all my fellow veterans out there. Yeah. This would have been a great podcast for Tim and I because we're both veterans, but you got a civvy and a vet now, so there you go. But yeah, they made Lineage 2, Lineage 2M. I think that's like a mobile version of the game. Not too sure. Blade and Soul, Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2. It's kind of their claim to fame, right? Yeah. So, Throne and Liberty, I think that the article you pulled, I actually have it up, from Gaming Bible, which I think this guy, all he did was like watch the trailer and then saw the main character do like the leap of faith and is like, oh, it's Assassin's Creed meets Final Fantasy. Like, I have a feeling he just watched a GIF of that or something and was like, yeah this is...
Which is super fucking unfortunate, because I've followed Gaming Bible on and off for years, and most of their stuff is like a genuine good read. And then there's stuff like this where it's just like, you get like halfway through it, and then you have to restart because you're like, what the fuck am I reading?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. The Assassin's Creed mixed with Final Fantasy, like I can kind of see the Final Fantasy, like if we're talking about like maybe Final Fantasy Online, like Final Fantasy 14. But this definitely feels more like I was saying earlier, like Monster World or Monster Hunter World and like Elder Scrolls Online mixed with some like pizzazz of like Black Desert. It feels like it's trying to do too much. The trailer is very confusing.
I would say it's probably more in its lane than Red Desert or Crimson Desert or wherever the fuck that next game is. Particle Effects Simulator 2024, as I call it. seriously, go watch that trailer again and tell me it's just not part.
Seen it.
It's disgusting. It's everywhere. It's like, God, I hope you can turn that off. Yeah, other than this is a fantasy setting, I don't know where they're pulling the Final Fantasy idea from. Like, I feel like, again, they watched a couple of GIFs and they're just like, oh, that's what it is. To me, it just seems like another MMO. It looks very Guild Wars to me, personally, which I'm not opposed to. Before the podcast, I was kind of talking to you, mentioning how Guild Wars was actually the original Guild Wars was one of my favorite MMOs. Reason being is you actually, like, it was the first time in MMOs where you progress through a storyline that actually changed the world around you. So, like, you get through the beginning of Guild Wars, and then the Cataclysm happens and reshapes the entire world. And that's fucking wild. So it was really cool and unique in that aspect. You could also, like, split class and do a bunch of other stuff. It was a really solid game. And then Guild Wars 2 came out, and I believe it was It was the same model Guild Wars 1 where you bought it and then it was free to play. But then when they launched it as a free to play game, the quality of the game went downhill, in my opinion, extremely quickly. As most games do that go free to play. So their history, NCSoft, is shaky at best, in my opinion. I'm hopeful. I think the game could be really good, but we don't really have anything to go off of other than their trailer here. I think there is some gameplay footage out there. I haven't looked at any yet. But there's one thing that NCSoft might want to consider, and that's their release date. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure this game has a following. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to it. But I don't know that they're going to get the attention they want, because the day before also comes out that very same day. So Throne and Liberty comes out 7 December 2024. 2023. Jesus, living in the future. Comes out on the 7th of December. And supposedly, hopefully, the day before comes out that day as well.
Guess you could say that they should release the day before.
Ha! Clever. Get out. You're fired.
Okay. I'll see you.
What they have going for them is that they are free to play. So the people that won't pick up the day before, that maybe want to just watch and see how that pot boils, might jump on this immediately.
It's going to boil.
I mean, one way or another, it's going to boil, right? It's going to be good or it's going to be bad. It's either going to go over the top or it's going to be very underwhelming, right?
I think it'll end up, even if it is underwhelming, I think it'll end up being a pretty hearty mix of both. It's like I was saying before we started the podcast, that the day before has been basically where it's at since 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So even if all the PR they've had up until recently has been negative PR, it's still more marketing for this game than I've seen for this NCSoft game that I already forgot the name of.
Throne and Liberty.
Throne and Liberty, sorry. So that alone could be what, I don't want to say eclipses the launch day for this game, but could be enough to maybe push people in another direction, if that makes sense.
So I also, watching this, I wonder if we're kind of, I don't want to say we're the exceptions to the rule, but like you, me, and Tim, and I'm sure a lot of other gamers too, we play a wide variety of games. Like we play everything from high fantasy games to mill sims to RTSs to just everything, right? To like CRPGs, all of it, right? I wonder what the crossover sectional on a chart is of people that would like Throne and Liberty and the people that would like the day before, right? Because you got to imagine that those don't always mesh for certain people. Some people are not into survival horror games. Some people are really into fantasy RPGs, right? So like those don't necessarily always hit. So that's not to say that this game isn't going to be a success. But it does raise the question of how many people on a different release date would have jumped on this, or would have jumped on the day before had they had just slightly different releases.
I think where it will cross, assuming the day before, is the MMO that it's planning to be from when it was released, the teaser way back in 2021. That'll kind of be the cross there, is that it's another MMORPG. It's a completely different MMORPG, because there's fantasy style RPGs like Throne and Throne.
Throne
and then
Liberty.
There's and then there's the like super gritty dark RPGs that is the day before.
Yeah.
Or even The Last of Us has RPG elements in it. You got crafting and survival aspects that you need to pay attention to. I think there will be a cross there, but it won't be as big as like the people that play PUBG also play Tarkov.
Yeah.
Two completely different type of shooters. One's more mail sim, one's more like shooter sim. But those two gamer groups tend to come together.
Yeah. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, NCSoft made one of my favorite MMOs outside of EverQuest and Final Fantasy XIV and stuff like that. Guild Wars was a fantastic game for when it came out. And I'm hoping they'll recapture that magic with Throne and Liberty. But traditionally, man, free-to-play games have not had... excuse me. Free-to-play games have not had good models. So it seems like I'm worried about the microtransactions because, there's going to be. How are they going to monetize this game, right? It's going to be microtransactions. Are they going to go so far like SWOTOR did, where it's like, oh, you don't want to have your helmet show in cutscenes? Pay us money. Like, that's too aggressive. That's too aggressive.
That's also a thing on Black Desert.
Yeah.
Where, like, I think they have something like 20 different characters now that you can pick, and only, like, 3 of them actually have, like, interactive cosmetics.
Yeah.
That you can, like, remove and, like...
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I will definitely probably download it the day it comes out, but I'm probably also very likely to buy the day before on the 7th as well.
I'm in the same boat.
I think on that day, the day before will get loaded up before Throne and Liberty. I think that day what's going to happen is I'll buy the game, I'll load it up. If it's shit, I'll be like, well, that's disappointing. Alt F4, boot up Throne and Liberty, and then see if that's shit.
And then pick which shit is better to play.
Or just go back to BG3. I
feel like, you'll go back to BG, of course. I'll probably end up playing Throne and Liberty if I like run into a situation where I'm like, all right, I need to wait for the day before to get patched.
Yeah.
Because that's, like I was saying, I think that's what's going to happen with that game. It's going to be like Cyberpunk, where it's like, it's going to be great for like...
Eventually.
A little bit, and then it'll be better later.
Yeah. I hope so, man. I hope it's good. But Throne and Liberty, like, I kind of feel the same way. It's like, all right, well, the day before is a little content starved, or whatever the case may be. Let's launch Throne and Liberty. But what has me worried about this game, again, is how are they monetizing it? What are they doing for microtransactions, right? Like, that's my biggest concern. So
the other concern I have, sorry to keep just cutting you off in the middle of...
No, you're good, man. You're good.
The other concern I have from, like, the trailer that we have running here, I was saying, there's so much going on that it's kind of confusing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like, a full open world MMO, or if it's like an overworld that you like hang out in, and then you like launch a quest or a mission, and then you end up in another completely different map, go through a loading screen or whatever.
Yeah, instances.
And then you have this like semi-open world area to complete your mission in, maybe loot a little bit, find some side shit, and then go back to the overworld, which either way I'm okay with it. But I'd rather have the trailer be set up, even if it just tells you where it's like our next open world MMO, or like the next open world, like just something to tell us that it's either open world or semi-linear, So if they follow what they did with Guild Wars, and I don't remember Guild Wars 2 enough, but I think Guild Wars 2 kind of followed the same format. If they follow what they did with Guild Wars was one massive open world map, and the quests were instanced on that map. Yeah.
So
like a typical like open world MMO.
Yeah, except instead of like the main storyline, you were still in that open world, but it became its own instant version of that world. So you didn't have other players running around when you were doing like main story quests and stuff like that. Now that doesn't mean like there were never any players ever, because when you just went out to like do side quests or do anything like that, you were in the open world with other players. But like main story quests, if you weren't in a party, there was nobody there but you, because it was a very linear story, which honestly, again, was so cool for Guild Wars. Like they were able to tell a story with great depth because it was a story about your character. Yeah. And nobody else existed in the world other than you and your part. I liked it a lot. So I hope they recapture that fire. I hope custom character creation is good. That's also very important to me for MMOs and like fantasy games like this. It'll be interesting. Like we just watched him shapeshift from a wolf into a guy. Then he used a grappling hook to like fly up onto this post and turn into an eagle. Like there's some wild shit that they're doing in this game. And I'm curious to see why it happens, how it happens, what makes you so like what's the arc of the hero kind of thing, right? So what kind of classes do we have to play with? How deep is the RPG element? Like, am I going to spend hours looking through gear and combining and min-maxing, that kind of stuff? But it's not coming out on... It's a Microsoft exclusive, as far as I can tell. It's not coming to PS5. it's specifically Xbox One and PC from as far as I can see.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you would think Microsoft would like promote this more if that's the case. I'm actually going to double check that right now, but I'm pretty sure it's an exclusive.
Should be. I want to say it would be kind of surprising, but I also feel like it wouldn't be that surprising.
Throne and Liberty is coming to the fuck. Hang on, what? This is saying it's... Oh, initial release date was May. Did it get pushed back at some point? Looks like it is coming to PS5. Must have gotten pushed back.
It wouldn't surprise me. Amazon Games is not a shit show, but they're not great.
Hang on. That's... Hold on. Sorry, I just realized something. This is apparently Throne and Liberty, and forgive me for those of you who are fans of this game and this have actually followed this. Throne and Liberty is a direct sequel to Lineage, which is another one of NCSoft's games. They make Lineage. So Throne and Liberty is actually in the universe of Lineage, which is actually interesting because I wasn't a big fan of Lineage, but okay, that gives me some idea of what their scope is for this game.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. Could be good. Could be shit. That's really all.
I haven't played the Lineage games, so I don't know.
I had the opportunity to. I think I own. Do I own Lineage 2? Hang on. Let me see here.
If you do, then you have to play it.
Yeah. Lineage. I don't think I do.
Then I guess that
I don't.
That kind of answers my worry about earlier if this game is going to be open world or like semi-linear. Because I think Lineage was also an open world game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Lineage 2. Yeah. They don't. Just because it's in that world doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be open world or not open world. So I wouldn't say that so much yet, but Lineage 2 is free to play. I might have to look into that. I don't think I played it because I don't know. Anyways, it's coming on December 7th. So if you're not the day before kind of fan, maybe this is more your gear. It is free to play. It's an Amazon game. And it's on Steam. So, if you're like me and hate having a million fucking launchers, there you go.
And before Amazon makes their own launcher.
God, dude, I swear to fuck if they do. Oh my god.
If they do, watch it be like some weird fucking like Twitch thing.
Oh,
It's got like Twitch colors and branding all over it.
Dude, I won't even... So... I didn't want to tell Tim this, but he was like, go get The Evil Within 2 on Epic Game Store because it was free. And like, I really wanted to be like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather pay $5 and have it on Steam because I fucking I hate so much having to have multiple launchers. I would rather buy a game for more on Steam than have to have Epic Game Store, fucking Blizzard, fucking Ubisoft, like all of those guys.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it. But that's a rant. That's that. Getting off topic. That's Throne and Liberty. Maybe it'll be good. I'm interested enough to check it out. I do like fantasy RPGs. The combat looks like it's action based, but it could very easily be tab based targeting with skills like every other game that's come out since WoW. So that's a possibility. Not everyone, but obviously I'm being facetious a bit. Most of them. So let's move on to some GTA 6. Mike, you had some thoughts. I think you were playing GTA 5 recently online, and you had some thoughts on 6 you wanted to talk about?
Yes. Before I get into that, though, Logan is messaging us in the Discord about the previous topic. He doesn't have the Twitch app on his phone, so he can't chat.
Gotcha.
He was saying the MMO min-max via meta honestly burned me out with EQ2.
Hey, yeah. I feel that.
Okay. Anymore, I don't look outside the games and just play in the game that I best can without looking it up. Serial Lab tears are nice. You have to think the arms are too the body, so I need to modify mine with a drill press. And the head neck pillow is really easy for kids to ruin.
Good to know. I'll make sure to keep it out of reach.
And then he said he will take a free game on EGS, and if he likes it, then he'll go buy it on Steam or GOG.
Fair enough.
Doesn't use GOG launchers, just download the files.
Yeah.
I know what he's talking about there. So GTA 6. I kind of want to preface this with the conversation I had a little while ago with Tim in the Discord. My gut is telling me that the GTA 6 announcement is still trigger happy because the official announcement on Rockstar Games' Twitter page or X page,
whatever. Just call it Twitter. Just call it Twitter. Fuck Elon.
They didn't specify Grand Theft Auto 6. They just said the next Grand Theft Auto, which, given their track record, could literally mean fucking anything. It could mean the next GTA Online DLC. But while I was actually playing GTA Online today, I had this thought that up until recently, before I had gotten a PS5 again, I was literally spending weeks trying to find any information I can about the GTA 5 remaster that's on the next-gen consoles and when it's coming to PC. Because that version of the game on PC, with all the enhancements that PC can do, would be fucking fantastic. And then I had the epiphany.
I didn't realize that version wasn't on PC already.
It's not.
Wild.
So if you want all the like fancy new ray tracing tech and all that new lighting tech and ray trace shadows and shit, it's only on the PS5 and the Xbox Series. Series X, I should say. But that gave me an epiphany after that. What if, and I'm not saying that like this is what's going to happen or like anything like that. I'm not trying to assume that this is what Rockstar's going to do.
It's just a thought.
But how wild would it be if the next Rockstar announcement about Grand Theft Auto on the next Grand Theft Auto installment or whatever is literally just a port of the remaster from the next gen consoles to PC? How fucking wild would that be?
Okay, so let me unpack this for a minute and think about this.
Because
from a marketing standpoint, saying the next GTA and then going with that.
I mean, it's
fucking dirty. It's fucking dirty, is what it is. But here's the worst part of it: I could 100% see them doing it. 100%.
Absolutely.
With how they mishandled Red Dead Redemption 1 remake. It's fucking dirty, but honestly, I can see them doing it. The only caveat to that is the reason why everybody, I think, is leaning towards GTA 6 is, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? Oh no, it was just the GTA logo, wasn't it? If you click the like button 3 times on Twitter, how we found out about this potential leak, it was just the GTA logo, wasn't it? It didn't say GTA 6, right?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So that's how people found out. It was a like Easter egg thing that was hidden on Twitch, and it was if you click the like button 3 times, it popped up with either the GTA 6 or the GTA logo, and I can't remember which. So I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. That was an article from a while ago, but
interesting. I also remember that people were freaking out because Rockstar Games posted a screenshot of 2 of the like default online characters sitting in front of the Hollywood sign. But the way that they were sitting, or not the Hollywood sign, but like Los Santos or whatever. But the way they were sitting in front of the sign, it like made the lettering look like the Roman numeral for 6, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, GTA 6 is confirmed!" Blah. And then they were like, "No." That was like a few months ago. But yeah, I think the problem is that they didn't specify. They weren't specific about Grand Theft Auto 6. They just said the next Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I'm looking at the tweet right now. It says specifically, quote, "We are very excited to let you know that in early December, we will release the first trailer for the next Grand Theft Auto. Full stop. Period. Not GTA 6. We look forward to many more years of sharing these experiences with all of you.
That second statement there. We look forward to many more years of sharing this experience with you. Sounds like more dirty Grand Theft Auto 5 re-release bullshit to me.
It's shitty as fuck, but with Take-Two's track record right now, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised. With how disappointing the re-release of Red Dead Redemption was,
And let's ignore the Red Dead thing and stay within the scope of Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto Online.
Sure.
Going back to the last time we talked about Grand Theft Auto Online, and they pulled that shit with pulling all of the like vehicles and stuff that were previously released per DLC free, and then locking them behind the GTA Plus paywall.
Right.
Which was only available on PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles. So PC players, PS4 players, everybody else is like fucked if they had a car that was like locked behind that paywall. They can't have it now, unless they happen to go drop $500 on a next gen console,
and then rebuy the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that he doesn't say GTA 6 makes me wonder. So there's no. GTA 5 had multiple endings, so they couldn't do that. I was gonna say, makes me wonder if they're gonna do a GTA 5 fucking Vice City. You know what I mean? Like, because that would be the next GTA. That wouldn't be 6. But there's too many different endings for 5 to be able to do that, unless, like, specifically they decide which one's canon and run with it. And if they did that, then you're playing as Franklin, Trevor, or Michael, and one of those is canon, because they've confirmed they're not doing the 3 protagonist thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I think... And this could just be me looking into shit that doesn't need to be looked into. But I will say that I'm one of those people that I see an intuition test pop up on my fucking TikTok feed, and I get all of them correct. I had one today where it was like, guess the color of guess which one is the color green, and it's 3 circles that are all gray, and I was like, all right, it's the middle one, and I like scrolled to it was the middle one, and like shit like that.
Okay.
I'm just fucking bullshitting there, but I want it to be Grand Theft Auto 6.
Everybody does.
I really do.
Everybody does.
But I feel like there's some part of my gut that's telling me that it's not going to be. It's going to be It's going to be Rockstar's fucking dirty marketing. Because, going back to what I was saying earlier, negative PR, Rockstar is the fucking king of negative PR.
You're not fucking wrong. You are not fucking wrong. It's an interesting theory. It raises some good questions.
If they do end up porting the remaster over, I could see them also doing like a thing where it's like, here's the new version of the game, and then also here's this like massive fucking online expansion that's going to take you months to finish, and then by that time they would probably announce GTA 6.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see.
Regardless, we'll know next month. So maybe those of you who are listening, curb your enthusiasm, curb your expectations. We saw how Red Dead Redemption got fucking bungled. So you're not too far off the mark here, Mike, with like, hey, cautiously optimistic, right? So speaking of things we're cautiously optimistic about, our final topic for tonight, we're going to talk about some speculation stuff. Those of you who follow industry news know there have been a mass amount of layoffs all over gaming. GTA 5 mobile racing game is my guess. God, please no. God, please no.
In the style of Mario Kart.
And you know what?
A bunch of little people in giant cars.
With big heads. You throw Molotovs instead of shells.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We're going to talk about AI art in gaming. And this is going to be mostly speculation topic, mostly personal opinions. I didn't do enough research to know for a fact that this is what's happening, but I have done enough research to see where these layoffs are happening in the industry to be able to surmise that this might be related. So, AI art in the gaming industry Yeah, there's enough there that it's coincidental, and I can speculate. There have been mass layoffs in the gaming industry. Just a ridiculous amount of them. Like, no company is safe. And for that reason, if anybody out there is a dev at any point listening to this, I 100%, I don't usually do this because I fucking hate them. I 110% support and suggest y'all unionize as soon as fucking possible. Because I cannot imagine having to go into work for a company that you have no fucking clue if you're walking out for the last time at the end of the day. That sounds like absolute fucking hell. And I feel for everybody going through that. That is a shitty situation, and that shouldn't be something that's allowed to happen. On the flip side, companies hired way too fucking many people during COVID. Way too fucking many.
Absolutely.
And so we're seeing the peel back of that, right? So the reason they hired so many, which didn't make a lot of sense at the time, is because gaming became a bigger thing. So the market share for gaming became a thing because amusement parks are closed, movie theaters are closed, all this shit's closed. The best thing you can do is...
Everybody was stuck.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is buy a fucking console or build a PC and start gaming, right? So you saw this huge inflation in the market for gaming.
Did you... sorry to cut you off away from the topic a little bit. Did you see the these fuck, I forget what it was called. There was some not like a news publication, but someone who routinely like researches sudden shifts in purchases
like a market
from
expert?
certain industries. Yeah, like market changes and things like that. When the lockdowns started becoming mandatory, there was a huge spike in people purchasing refurbished consoles on Amazon. PS4 Pros, Nintendo Switches, Xboxes, all kinds of shit. There was just a sudden spike just out of the fucking blue. Which I think probably also somewhat accounted for this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So they hired a ton of people, and now we're at a point where things are getting back to normal. They've got to lay off a ton of people, but that still does not excuse the way it's being handled, considering the amount of money video games are making. Granted, their investment costs have gone up. There's a whole bunch of things that go into this, right? Yeah. But we're also seeing that a lot of the areas that are being cut are in art direction. And I think that's a big result of AI art. And I think that is the worst possible thing they could do. As somebody who fucks around with AI art, it's a really cool tool. It allows somebody like me who can really wish that I was an artist can actually go and make what I see in my brain happen on screen. It's fantastic. But to use it as a big studio, like, and I'm just going to name a couple here, not any in particular, but like Bungie or Rockstar or EA or Activision or Blizzard, any big AAA studio, if you're doing layoffs of actual art people in favor of AI art because it's cheaper, not because it's better, not because it's quicker, not because, like, your art department shouldn't be getting laid off for AI art. You should be pivoting and making them make AI mock-ups so that they can have a reference to make that art better. You know what I mean? Like, that's my friend does, who I D&D with. She's an artist, and she uses AI art to get the general composition, the shape, the style, what she wants, and then she draws it and makes it better. Right? Like, she gets it better. Or she'll tweak it and tweak it and tweak it and make it where she wants it. But, like, this is exactly what I was worried about when we started doing AI. Like, everybody's like, oh, it's going to be so much better. It's so great. It's going to alleviate all this and that. No, it's deleting jobs. Like, straight up, it's deleting jobs. I'm not okay with that. Like, the flip to that, right? Like, Mike, I think you kind of share my opinion here. The flip to that is this is a fantastic fucking tool for small devs.
Yeah. I can't say that I have ever made a game in my life, but I understand the basics of what goes into one, especially with Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5. I've dabbled with it a little bit, made some, like, you know, for shits and giggles, kind of killing time. So I know what goes into it and how AI can help in certain scenarios, especially if you're a smaller dev where you need to make art for a character or for a specific texture on some monster that you've been, like, you're thinking about it, but you don't know exactly what you want it to look like. So you give an AI some, like, prompts, you know, bloody zombie, like, whatever you can think of, and AI will do it. And if you don't like it, you just refresh. Here's another one. Refresh. Here's another one. That's, as a small dev, that'd be great.
Yeah.
as a larger dev, like you were saying, I don't want to lean into the fact that it's like deleting jobs, because it is, but it isn't.
Sure, I guess that's not fair of me to put it in that regard, but it's transferring jobs.
Yeah, yeah. I had this conversation. Can't remember if I had it with Cynical, Tony, or one of my other buddies. But with the way AI is being used in the tech industry as a whole, not even just the gaming industry, like the whole bubble that envelops those two industries, AI isn't necessarily replacing. AI itself isn't necessarily replacing the jobs. It's the person that knows how to use and check the AI that is.
Right.
So I do want to say, for any devs that are listening to this now or later, take some time out of your free time and learn how to use AI. Because what's going to end up happening is companies, it's happening now, larger companies are seeing that someone who knows how to use, control, and fact check an AI, they're getting the job of 6 people because the AI is handling 90% of the work.
Yeah.
10% of their job is just, does this art look okay? Oh, there's an extra finger here. Let me just remove that. Like that type of shit.
It goes a little bit further than that, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, yeah.
But being able to give it the human touch at the end of its workflow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This whole thing is just like, it's a love-hate relationship, you know?
It's a great tool, but I still think humanity moving towards creating anything with any kind of consciousness before we truly even understand what consciousness is literally fulfilling a doomsday prophecy. Like,
Skynet.
100%. Dude, I have named my Wi-Fi Skynet for the last 10 years just to let the robots know once they take over, like, hey, it's cool. We're okay. We're fine. But like, yeah, like it's not okay to create something when you don't even understand what you're creating, in my opinion.
And then the other side of that is AI models have to be trained.
Yeah.
So going back a few months to, honestly, even last year, various different websites that handled a lot of like community art, so DeviantArt, Tumblr, places like that, all of them were used to train these AI models. DeviantArt was fortunate enough to send everybody an email and say, hey, if you want your art to not be used and you want to opt out on training an AI model at some point in the future, you can do that. Here's how.
Right.
I don't know if Tumblr did it. I don't even know if people fucking use Tumblr anymore, so people probably like forgot that their accounts even exist. But also Tumblr's a cesspool, so that's a whole other situation.
Fair enough.
So the other thing that is going to happen, it's not if, it's a matter of when, someone's art is going to show up in a game. And I seriously hope it's not going to be a game that's made by a small dev that can't afford to take a fucking financial hit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also like I said, it's a love-hate relationship. Like, this is a risk that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
So as a small dev, you need to really sit down and think about that. If the AI is creating art for you, because it's a lifesaver, and it genuinely is, again, this is where that human touch comes in at the end of the workflow. You need to make sure that the art that it just spat out for you isn't copyrighted art by someone else.
What is it? It's like 20% difference? Is that what it is? To avoid copyright infringement, isn't it? There's a certain percentage that has to change between what somebody made and what you made, right? There's a certain percentage there that has to change for it to be legally different, but legally distinct, I think is the term.
Yeah,
but it's
for like
it's the bare minimum of how to like save your butt, right? Like if you use AI art and you're a small dev, get that percentage. Just make sure you're checking that box with an actual artist. Go, okay, give this the last kiss on top of it. You know what I mean? That chef's kiss.
I would even say go further than that, because the 20% is a law that was created more for like Fair Use Act. So if I go on YouTube and I'm like doing a React content for some music. Let's say Sony Studios owns the rights to the song that I'm reacting to. Legally, because it's 20% different or whatever, they can't do a copyright strike, but they themselves can still go to the legal team and be like, fuck that guy. And they can do it themselves.
Yeah.
But it's the difference between if you commit a crime against a person and they choose not to press charges, but the state that you committed the crime in chooses to press charges. That's the difference.
Right. Yeah, AI art is really cool. I think it is a fantastic tool for tabletop gaming. Specifically, as a guy who is very visual, I gotta say, like, playing D&D and having like a visual, what my DM decided is like, this is the battlefield, or this is the town you're in, or this is the enemy. Like, having that as a visual key art thing is really fucking cool. I'm not okay with the mass layoffs in the industry. I think any person that has to go into work and wonder if they've got a job at the end of the day, end of the week, end of the month, especially this time of year, that's pretty fucked. Also, rich bigwigs can continue to make their ridiculous amounts of money. It just doesn't sit well with me. And Spanky in the chat says it's 30%, but it's not a hard number to hit. So I was off by 10, but it's not cool. And I strongly support any devs that are out there trying to unionize. I wish you guys the best of luck. Shit's rough and it's fucked up. And I can't imagine going into work every day and knowing that there's a breach of trust there. Just talking briefly on what I read about the layoffs at Bungie. Dude, did you read that? Did you hear about how that kind of went?
I heard about it. I didn't read too much into it.
So I didn't go super deep, and we got to wrap this episode up here in a minute, but just to kind of finish up with this, there were a lot of people at Bungie that didn't know they were laid off until they couldn't get into servers, into their emails. They couldn't do. They literally were not told, and their team leaders were not told. So, like, zero notice to anybody that anybody was getting laid off. And yeah, just like, could you imagine, dude, being like a work from home or even like a part-time work from home guy? You get up in the morning, get your coffee, sit down at your keyboard, go to log in for work. Oh, that's weird. My password's not working. Let me get into my email and contact IT. Oh, that's weird. I can't get into email. Let me reach out to somebody. Like, let me reach out to my team lead. Oh, team lead's just as confused as I am. That's weird. Like, could you, like, how fucked, dude? God damn.
Depending on what state you live in, if that happens, you can actually sue the company that did it to you. But yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just have you call me and say, yeah, you're fired, and then click. Like,
yeah. And to not inform the team leaders so that they could be that stopgap and be like, hey, yeah, you know, I regret to inform you that unfortunately due to this or that, like, zero notice at all to anybody.
And it just also let go, or was it?
I didn't get that far into it. I didn't see who all was part of the layoff, how far into the teams it went. The article I read briefly mentioned that it was just layoffs, and they were just not informed. About it? Yeah, they were shitty about it, and that sucks because Bungie's a company I tried to work for. I wanted to be a tester for them. I did. I got into the interview process, and it was cool. It was the dev that seemed like they actually cared about their team and stuff like that. And you know, I feel like that trust is probably broken for a lot of developers all over the industry, not just at Bungie.
Oh, is your brother-in-law?
Brother.
Is he still at Bungie, or was he?
He's still there. Yeah, no, I checked in with him after I heard about it. It's tense, to say the least. He's hopefully coming out for Thanksgiving, so I can talk to him more about it in person. I don't want to go too deep into it here on the podcast because it's not something I want to talk about in public. But he's not laid off yet, is kind kind of the sentiment around the office.
A consensus.
So, yeah, like that trust is broken, you know, and that's not something that's going to be easily repaired for them. So it's going to be a long road ahead for all industries in the gaming, all developers that continue to go with this very fire hire, burn through employees kind of thing that they're doing. But so unfortunately, on that low note, I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Wish I could leave you all with some better high notes, but this is kind of where we decided to end tonight. For those of you listening, like I said at the top of the episode, our Discord links are fixed. you can join us at any time via Twitch, our YouTube channels, anything like that. YouTube is CoinDropVODs. Twitch over here is twitch.tv/CoinDropVets. And these episodes do go live on Wednesday. For our single patron, thanks again to you. You will get this Tuesday with our exclusive section. Tim and I, a few weeks ago, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, we were supposed to do a live react for Star Citizen Squadron 42. We did not get a chance to do that. My wife was incredibly sick, so we weren't able to make that happen. So for our patron and hopefully future patrons, that episode is going to be now. So Mike and I are actually going to jump off here. We're going to record locally, do our live react. That audio will be attached to the Patreon exclusive, as well as the video will be uploaded to Patreon as well. So if you'd like to check us out on Patreon, we are patreon.com/CoinDropPod. All one word. Thanks again for listening, guys. Mike, any final thoughts before we say goodnight?
Tell your mom I said hi.
Hey, tell your brother I said what's up. Have a great night, everybody.